Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I wanted to give you an update on my Sperro Rod. And I guess you've seen plenty of it over the last 2 years. This is the 5/16 by 3 1/8 inch Ferro Rod, Keychain Sperro Rod that I drilled a hole in the end and then glued this paneling nail in the end with epoxy. And so I call the nail a spear, hence Sperro Rod. This idea for y'all has gone over like a lead balloon. No positive feedback at all, no indication that anybody's ever tried it, but for me it solved the problem. Whenever I used a short ferro rod or a long ferro rod, when I got ready to strike it, the bottom would kick out on me. The bottom was always buckling like it does here, and so that's been great. I still love it, but everybody's always thinking, oh, you're going to stab yourself in the leg. And people are laughing at it, making comments, laughing about such an idea. But actually, the opposite is true. This doesn't stab a person in the leg. What it does is stick through the outside of your pocket without you realizing it. And you may sit down all right, but when in an upholstered chair, but when you go to get up, you'll think you've torn a big hole in that chair because this is stuck in the upholstery, and you go ahead and get up, and it sounds like you've ripped a hole in the upholstery. So far I have not, but it probably didn't do it any good. So that's happened to me 2 or 3 times, and there's been some minor pokes, but I am not done with the Sperro Rod. I'm going to change the design. Now, I've been suggesting over the years, if you're scared about having a spear sticking out of the end of it, put a ink pen cap over it, put some plastic tubing over the end of it, you know, for a guard. Alright, so this is my second Sperro Rod. I wore one out and made another one, and it's been great. It's great about pinning, not only keeping bottom from buckling out from underneath you, but it keeps tinder pinned down. Straw, leaves. So Sperro Rod is still great for me anyways. Nowhere else on the planet but for me. So when I finally do wear this out, which it looks like it might have 2-3 more months left in it, what I want to do today is to experiment with this. And what I want to do is to stick this in my drill and use my side grinder. I don't have a bench grinder, and take and grind a tapered point on this. Now, is this type of metal, is it going to be able to take that kind of pressure? I'm going to find the happy medium between too sharp of a point that's easy to break off, sort of the center punch type of tip. I also want to go ahead and do something that I saw while I was researching for the Cobra weave tutorial video that I just put out. I saw that somebody else had done a two-tone, and all they did when this was before it was woven, they took and they melted 2 ends together. So we're going to use the orange and the black and come back and Cobra weave this with two-tone, orange and black. But I never did show you how to deploy something like this where the ends are melted and sort of pressed into the weave. Let me show you how. It can be a little hassle to get them to deploy. Let me show you. There we go. We got one end to come off of there. So good. I didn't have to cut it. And you just keep pulling the top one out. And since it's in that hole so tightly, I will have to go ahead and cut that off. Now, The orange one needs to be a little bit longer because this is going to be the loop that I'm weaving to right here. And this is where we melt the two together. And so the weavings will cover up this joint right here. And it makes for a very nice multicolored Cobra weave. Can't wait to try that. Let me get out my side grinder and my drill and some water to keep the ferro rod cool, and we'll see what kind of a point I can grind on that right there. All right, I just wanted to show you that the center line is off. See, with a bevel on that side and a little one on that side, but the center line is off, which you can expect with these cheap ferro rods. It should still do what I want it to do, though. Right. Now, that off-center point is not going to matter. There wasn't anything I could do about that. But there is something I can do about that hole being too small for that paracord to get through easily. I'll drill it out to 3/16, chamfer it, and then go ahead and do my two-tone Cobra weave. Now I pulled on that a little bit and it seems plenty strong. Let's give it a try. All right, now if I start my weave here and come down to about right here, then we'll cover that ugly joint up and have a two-tone Cobra weave. How about that? That's going to be my thumbnail right there. Nothing left to do but to try it out on some leaves. See if this point will help stick it to the tinder better. Alright, that's what we ended up with. An off-centered point. And I'm loving my two-tone lanyard. And if this long one works out, then I'll go ahead and cut it to 3 1/8 inches and put a point on it, and it'll be just as long as my other Keychain Sperro Rod. And I'll start using this. Let's try it out. My tinder needs to be tighter than that. That's better. Acting like they have moisture in them, aren't they? I am really pleased with this. We'll try it out for a few years and see how it turns out. Alright, y'all. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.